Hi everyone, I'm Adam. I'm from a little town called Eastbourne near Brighton in the UK, and I'm a creative director for the Cloud-Born life science marketing and branding agency up there everywhere. Thanks for inviting me to speak about our vision for human creativity in ethical AI collaboration. I might be in the business, but the truth is anyone can get something seemingly great from Midjourney. Follow this provocative word with some other words, any words, and you're suddenly an artist. As I said in Glasgow, that can feel exhilarating. There's really no barrier. It's dollars a month for a premium account. You tussle a little bit with Discord, although not for much longer because Midjourney is moving to the web, and you're off to the races. Honestly, there's really very little more to it. The steps to creation, although changing with each release, are not hard. In Midjourney, it's a case of adjusting simple settings like stylize, which describes the amount of interpretation from AI that you want, and then writing your prompt. The thinking here is that the more detail, the better, expressing all the desired components of an image and its composition, then refining one or of the four suggestions that you get via a combination of variations and scaling. The thing we've just made is not only way better than we achieved back in high school art class, it also wouldn't and couldn't exist without us. Oh, and here's the first of a few AI me's too. This time I'm looking smug. It's tempting to feel like a suddenly powerful, maybe even profound creator. Of course, in reality, we are neither of those things. And as the courts are beginning to, in my opinion, rightly establish, we're not the author in law either, and that's a big deal because beautiful as it is, what you've just made belongs in essence to anyone else as much as it does to you. Here I am looking annoyed about that. At Up, IP has always been as important to us as it is to our many life science clients, and it's not just a matter of ownership in law, it's a matter of ethics. But let's rewind for a moment because AI cannot be ignored. It's why we're here today, and it's dramatically impacting efficiencies across industries, even in its infancy. Oh, and by the way, yeah, anything I say today probably won't be true tomorrow. Just something to keep in mind. So we've done a quick poll and we saw that the AI is being used by a variety of the people in the audience at SAMPS on both a daily and a weekly basis. And we also, you'll probably remember, noted that there's a number of oddities about this image and also similarities between the light bulbs at the top and the light bulbs in the room in Boston. Here are some of those oddities. Forearms, I think, were one of the funniest things. Personally, I feel like the behavioural shift to an AI-first answer to many daily challenges is well underway in us humans, and we're kind of flying up the adoption curve. It is a fun game though, isn't it? Look at these people at the back. They're seriously painful cheap seats. So be it part of a repetitive or a creative process, workflows devised in hours, sometimes minutes, are solving tasks whole software products were once built on. In Glasgow in the summer we talked about one of those, the death of stock imagery thanks to AI, something I personally remain delighted about. But with every day and every tool and every benefit that comes with those tools, more questions arise about ownership and validity. Questions that matter to people who need to own their brands, especially brands with IP at their core, science brands. In November 2022, I raised the idea of an AI code of conduct with colleagues at Up, and in early 2023, a consortium began to write that code of conduct. Here it is. Our group uses this as a guide for everything that we do with AI. And it's captured in a phrase which really resonated with members and we now believe in passionately. The simple always add human principles guide our distributed network towards outputs which meet both legal and ethical demands. We can read these now Be unbiased and fair. Be completely transparent. Be original. Respect intellectual property. Remain current. Always add human and protect human creativity. And of course there's depth to each of those. Crucially, these are principles designed to withstand the test of time even at the speed of AI. But what does that look like in reality? And what does AI collaboration look like? And what is enough human? Firstly, AI tools themselves are now supporting this demand, and clearly we're onto something with that. Let's look at some examples. First, the already famous. ChatGPT has leapt forward thanks to its recent union with DALL-E and created a richer synergy between machine and human. It's driven by conversation with much less pressure on the technicalities of prompting. Here's an example. I asked DALL-E for this image that you saw earlier in the presentation of people standing on the globe with their hands up, claiming ownership of IP. It had lots of people were standing in the oceans in the first image. I asked it to address that issue, and we got the second set of images as a result. The first of those, when we see it here, was perfect, and the one that I used in the presentation. It also introduced the capability to train on the fly by feeding in images, ideas, parameters and words. It can even handle my sketches. That's our little secret though. And also the recent new capability to create your own ChatGPTs designed to help you perform specific roles, maybe even assessing how human your output is. ChatGPT is building a marketplace for these, and anyone can build them. It's really straightforward. We're going to look at that later in the workshop. Both enable a richer sense of human in the resulting outputs, be they visual or written. So I'm beginning to feel like I at least partly own something, as well as being a lot younger and better looking. Next, the emerging Kriya. This came I guess a month ago now, maybe a month and a half, and when it landed, it had the promise for the first time of real-time scene and composition making, merging basic object drawing with text prompts that we're familiar with, and as you can see, it's pretty impressive for a first go. This will also allow us to improve our own images or those that we've generated with AI. As you can see, it's turning rudimentary marks into style-matched edits. I'm still to get my hands on this, but with each of these steps, the creator is in more control, and the benefits of a deep AI collaboration are becoming clearer. But how do we describe enough human to our members? Here's an example of how, since the launch of the Code of Conduct, we've developed this conversation. See the first prompt down at the bottom, then there's this period of time when there's not enough human. We have an always add human threshold, and the idea that there is at a point both enough human added, and then a point where we should all stop, right? Because it's a time sink, this, if we're not careful. Whilst we're going through that process, we ask ourselves a number of questions. How ownable and hard to replicate is the output? How refined and honed is it? How closely does it honour the brand and the brief? How free from meaningless artefacts, the extra toes, the long forearms, things like that? How many tools and iterations have been employed, and how unrecognisable as AI generated output is it? I'm sure we're all getting much better at spotting AI generated images already. And how does it honour expect more, which is UP's position, when you consider how barrierless AI is. This is coupled with guidance on the type of use and any outputs, the type of use any outputs may have. Their significance to clients leads the level of human and the level of oversight. Level 1, where human is at its lowest threshold, is restricted to internal comms and ideation. Level 2 lets us consider AI work with more human for internal client projects, pitches, etc. And level 3, which we've not yet started to use, will be when we feel ownership is assured. But even then, the level of oversight and human is very high. Like AI, we are iterating, and like AI, this is just the beginning. But our UP consortium has planted its flag firmly in this issue, and we're committed to developing our understanding and value as a safe as well as efficient pair of hands. We would really welcome people's feedback on this, and we're really keen to collaborate, so do check in with me if you would like to get involved. To end, we wanted to stress test our core value as humans, agency service and collaborators with AI, and that's creativity itself. We have always felt that our deep understanding, like I'm sure most agencies, of clients and the resulting ideas are a central part of our value. So we set ourselves a challenge, asking a supplier from Fiverr, which was now selling Gen AI skills specifically, they have their own section, ChatGPT without any collaboration from us humans, and an UP team in collaboration with all the AI tools they wanted to come up with ideas to visualise a campaign, a line we developed for a real US client. I provided all three with a brief and the anonymised project research documents. ChatGPT's answer, without any creative direction attached from humans, was, as you can see, pretty soulless and actually quite daunting, not on point at all. Fiverr, the service for hiring very low cost skills, including a section on AI artists, as I mentioned, was also sadly very predictable, and I don't even think they read the documents, to be honest, but you do get what you pay for. Our team's effort was actually a rather breathtaking and quite emotive exploration of the idea, using AI generated images in full collaboration with ChatGPT and Midjourney together. Here's the set. It's really atmospheric. It really captures the idea of both venturing somewhere and the familiarity of the topic beautifully. And showing off a bit, they also used video AI app Runway to add some motion, which you can see there. I don't think it worked in my first presentation of this, but you can see the boat moving and the clouds moving. It's lovely. Let's move forward. And they also provided these to show that they considered the next stage of the campaign, this lovely idea of icebergs and below the surface, something familiar, but again like this, venturing into something you already know. Really nice. Something that I didn't ask for, but they provided was also a list of activation ideas, thanks to a more detailed conversation with ChatGPT, and that included this lovely visualised concept for a trade show. What I loved about these was the collaborative process in evidence and how we were building with the help of ChatGPT on an already great idea, and also the speed at which a good idea in genuinely creative hands comes to life and becomes expansive. Are we meeting the IP threshold at which visuals like this can become ownable? That remains the question for me, and I think all of us agree the coming months are going to tell. It's going to be tested more. But the framework we've developed and continue to work in ensures that we're ahead of this issue, and it's something we're offering to collaborate on with others too. So you or your organisation can endorse our code of conduct, or we can work with you on developing your own to guide internal teams on the ethical, legal use of generative AI. Finally, I wanted to reassure you that I believe there will always be the need to always add human. It's not just about the deliberate errors AI is still prone to, but also something foundational to modern society. We are needed for framework, like I've talked about. We are needed for ethics, and we are needed for creativity. But above all, we are needed for judgment, for confirming what is right and wrong, good and bad, elevating or damaging to our brand. And without human expert oversight and judgment, there will never be certainty. So we can all have a happy Christmas. Happy Christmas.